Gente, boa noite a todos. Muito bom, muito gostoso tê-los aqui por um evento diferente. O primeiro de muitos que a gente quer fazer. E o primeiro sempre é marcante. E é marcante porque o que a gente percebeu é que nós fomos convidados para um desafio. Entendemos que os alunos que tinham os encontros semanais com o Maurício agrupavam, tinham possibilidade de aceitar esse desafio, e embora tudo que foi decidido, foi conduzido pelo Maurício, mostrava a confiança que a gente tinha, o resultado, encontro a encontro, surpreendeu, foi acima disso, né? Há 5 minutos estava conversando com ele, que todos os TEDs que eu já assisti, eles marcam das pessoas que foram convidadas que aquilo que ela produz no dia a dia tem um propósito. Então, os filhos e filhas de vocês, tudo que eles vão apresentar e o que cada um deles aqui na escola mostra que eles têm propósito de vida, isso faz a diferença. Então, nesse momento, eu acho que está tendo todo um frisson na barriga, eu estou exposto para o meu pai, para minha mãe, para meus colegas, mas saibam que daqui 10 anos isso vai ter um significado muito grande na vida deles, porque é um primeiro passo de um conjunto de outros passos que virão, porque acaba se marcando, e aquilo que é tão... causa um certo medo em nós, ele é vencido com o passar do tempo. Então, esse evento de hoje é extremamente significativo. E ele é significativo porque ele só aconteceu porque a gente recebeu um convite da Lucimara, que acreditou, conversou com a gente, ela foi cuidadosa na forma como ela passou, nos critérios que ela colocou, no Maurício, que acreditou naquilo que a gente trouxe para ele, no Canela, que inicialmente ouviu a Lucimara, ponderou e conversou comigo com a Monique, a gente comprou a ideia, mas nós compramos a ideia com uma certeza. A gente sabia quais eram os alunos que estavam vindo todas as tardes, que tinham um certo intuito, um certo desejo, e a gente acrescentou uma provocação. Essa provocação foi aceita e a gente está conseguindo fechar com chave de ouro, né? Agradecer vocês, pais, por confiar no colégio e acreditar que a gente sempre quer fazer algo diferente e inovador. Muitas vezes não acontece na velocidade com que a gente quer que aconteça, porque eu não envolvo um aluno, eu envolvo um conjunto de alunos, mas esse conjunto de alunos produziu aquilo que a gente está valorizando nesse momento. Então, Lucimara, obrigado pela ideia que você trouxe, o convite, essa provocação. Obrigado, Maurício. Obrigado a cada um de vocês, que eu sei que todo mundo está ansioso, nervoso, mas as coisas vão fluir, e é sempre assim na vida, as coisas fluem, né? E obrigado a vocês, pais. Então, a noite é de todo mundo, mas em especial de cada um deles, certo? Com você, Maurício.
Obrigado. Obrigado, pessoal. Muito bom. Meu nome é Maurício Carvalho. Quero agradecer a cada um de vocês, cada pai, cada aluno, cada pessoa que acreditou efetivamente nesse projeto, principalmente o próprio Benedito, né? Inicialmente ao Canela, quando nós começamos, toda uma ideia, todo um embrião de tudo isso, há 2 anos atrás, nós começamos a falar, puxa, o que nós podemos fazer para criar um ambiente onde nós preparamos os nossos jovens para o mercado futuro de trabalho, para quem quer residir fora do país, quem quer entender essa cultura, se preparar para uma situação de uma universidade lá fora, ou seja, todo projeto como esse aqui, de postura, de atitude, não é? Como é que ele tem certo, como é que tem essa adaptabilidade, essa flexibilidade, e como o próprio Benê disse, surgiu essa ideia, não é? Através do Lucimara, no início, acho que na virada desse ano, não é? Só falar um pouco melhor do que eu, mas dizendo assim, por que não incluir o TED? E eu me recordo quando a Monique, não é? Ela me chamou, e ela falou assim, Maurício, temos uma ideia aqui, precisamos formidável, precisamos conversar com você. E viemos aqui, e ela comentou, e o Canela também estava super animado com essa ideia. E eu vou deixar a Lucimara explicar um pouquinho mais sobre o que é o TED, que ela é uma grande especialista sobre esse projeto. Eu tenho muita experiência com o TED para os jovens, que é o TEDx. Então, com vocês aqui, a Lucimara.
Oi, gente, boa noite. Bom, acho que antes de eu falar do TED, eu preciso falar uma coisa para vocês, assim, é muito prazeroso a gente notar que quando a gente tem um propósito e encontra um par que comunga desse mesmo propósito, a gente começa a ver uma coisa chamada grandiosidade. Não é, eu diria para vocês que não existe ainda um olhar na educação como essa escola possui. E eu fico muito honrada de pôr os pés aqui, porque de longe eu assisto o que essa escola oferece para os alunos, mas eu nunca tive uma oportunidade de estar aqui presente da forma como eu estou hoje, para validar a seriedade com que a coisa é conduzida. E sim, é um projeto muito diferente, tanto que ninguém conhece, ou quem conhece, aliás, quem conhece o TED? Quem conhece, conhece possivelmente dos vídeos de YouTube, né? E tudo começa quando eu, como Canela, como o Benê, como todo mundo aqui dentro, recebe uma informação de que, olha, existe isso, vai lá e vê o que é. Eu acho que pode ser muito parecido com você. E aí eu fui olhando, não existia nada no Brasil, a não ser escola americana e Dante Alighieri em São Paulo, algumas escolas, Porto Seguro, algumas escolas que tinham esse tipo de programa, mas eram todas escolas binacionais, nenhuma escola brasileira. E eu estava procurando alguma coisa para os meus alunos que fizesse sentido para a vida deles, porque na idade que eles estão, principalmente, né, eles vão para um vestibular, possivelmente para um intercâmbio, e qual era o preparo que tinha antes disso? E aí foi onde eu achei esse programa, fiz uma edição, uma primeira que deu dor na barriga, como todo mundo deve estar hoje, fiz a segunda, quando eu estava na terceira edição, nós nos inscrevemos num canal com um escritório de Nova York. E aí eles mandaram um convite para 5.000 pessoas no mundo, que nós somos chamados de líderes. Quem lidera o grupo é chamado de líder. 5.000 pessoas foram convidadas para passar um fim de semana em Nova York. Mas eles sorteariam apenas 50 que fariam parte de um summit. E essas 50, eles mandaram para a gente fazer uma inscrição e desejaram boa sorte. Eu poderia não ter feito, mas eu fiz. E qual não foi a minha surpresa quando eu recebo o convite de que eu tinha sido aceita entre os 50? Eu só não entendi o porquê. Bom, lá vou eu para Nova York. Quando eu chego lá, 40 americanos e canadenses e 10, um de cada país. O que vocês vão ver aqui hoje é o creme de la creme da sociedade brasileira, porque nós temos 5% da população que fala inglês. O que vocês vão ver aqui hoje são jovens que possivelmente vão se destacar no futuro pela coragem, pela audácia, mas principalmente pelo apoio que tem dentro de casa e pela credibilidade na educação que está aqui dentro desse espaço. E esses jovens, quando eles se empoderam do que eles têm aqui, eles não conseguem mais enxergar o mínimo, porque existe uma coisa da futurologia que diz que quando você conhece o futuro, você já não vê o hoje, você vive o futuro. Até para dar um exemplo bem claro, se a gente pensar que vai chover, a gente volta para casa, pega um guarda-chuva, pronto, eu já mudei o meu presente, olhando para o futuro. Hoje eles estão olhando para o futuro e eles serão impactados, não tem como. E muito positivamente. Mas voltando onde eu queria, 5% da população fala inglês. Quantos por cento dos professores falam inglês? 5%. Eu estava em Nova York quando eles jogaram um dado na minha mão e falaram assim, por que é que esse programa é importante para você? Na hora, eu vi que eu era a única brasileira. Aí que eu fui me tocar, que os países que estavam ali eram um de cada país, cada um de um idioma. E eu comecei a chorar, porque eu falei, os professores do meu país nunca vão ter o privilégio de estar aqui, porque não tem acesso ao idioma. Aí foi quando eles disseram, não, a partir de hoje, você pode traduzir o programa para a língua portuguesa, e a partir de agora esse programa pode estar em qualquer escola do Brasil. Acho que eu não preciso dizer para vocês o que aquilo significou para mim, eu voltei para o Brasil imediatamente, traduzimos o material, hoje isso roda o Brasil, porém em inglês não. Em inglês continuam sendo só as binacionais e esse colégio, e alguns colégios que ousam. Então vocês podem se sentir muito privilegiados. Outra coisa que eu queria dizer para vocês é que essa proposta da educação, ela começa tudo no Vale do Silício. Acho que a gente não precisa dizer que ali nasce tudo, né? Em termos de tecnologia, visão de futuro. Essas 3 letrinhas aqui significa tecnologia, entretenimento e design. As pessoas na Califórnia, que eram muito de vanguarda, elas tinham encontros. E eles começaram a perceber, sabe quando você faz um network, pai, que você senta na mesa e conversa com alguém, você começa a se relacionar e faz aquele match, começa uma relação? Eles perceberam que tinham muitas trocas que eram positivas. E aí eles falaram, poxa, cada um podia falar o que faz para poder melhorar e a gente vai agregando na nossa prática. Essas conversas eram conversas que iam até, no máximo, 18 minutos. Aí eles perceberam que eles poderiam trazer pessoas para trazer novas ideias, para melhorar o ambiente que era de tecnologia, de entretenimento e design, e foram atraindo pessoas. Aquilo gerou um movimento que trazia muita vanguarda, antecipava o futuro. E começaram a fazer encontros na Califórnia, que depois esse encontro foi transferido para o Canadá, porque entenderam que a coisa tomou uma proporção maior. Hoje o evento oficial do TED, com pessoas que impactam a sociedade, e eu estou falando de Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, todos os cientistas, todos os futurólogos, os engenheiros, os astronautas, as pessoas mais de vanguarda do mundo são convidadas para pisar nesse TED. Quando a pessoa pisa nesse palco, ela é considerada uma pessoa extremamente impactante para a sociedade global. Então é muito comum você ver professor universitário falar, posso apresentar no TED? Não, você tem que ser impactante, você tem que mudar alguma coisa. Então é uma honra receber um certificado como um palestrante TED. Os filhos de vocês vão receber. Isso faz parte de um currículo deles. Eles vão poder, no futuro, em qualquer vaga de colocação profissional, intercâmbio, falar, eu estive num palco do TED. Isso faz uma diferença tremenda para qualquer adolescente. Bom, esses encontros desses adultos que acontecem, que são chamados de TED, o oficial é na Califórnia, no Canadá. Quando sai do Canadá, isso ganhou o mundo, porque tem cidades, vamos pensar numa São Paulo, numa Londres, que tem pessoas também que têm ideias que impactam. E eles fizeram, então, uma franquia, uma licença chamada TEDx. Esse X é de experience, de experiência. Então, no mundo inteiro, hoje, você tem eventos com pessoas que impactam o mundo, mas adultos. Isso, quando veio a tecnologia, começou a ser gravado em streaming. YouTube, por exemplo, onde vocês assistem. Isso começou a rodar as escolas, cursos de pós-graduação, de mestrado, e chegou no ensino médio. Quando chegou no ensino médio, eles falaram, peraí, mas o conteúdo é muito denso. Ao invés de fazer colocar esses vídeos com pessoas falando no palco, vamos pegar os assuntos que são importantes para eles e fazerem espécies de animações. E as escolas começaram a consumir esses vídeos para a formação dos adolescentes. Até que alguém teve uma brilhante ideia de dizer assim, peraí, se alguém que sobe num palco do TED é capaz de fazer uma apresentação em até 18 minutos, porque ele é preparado por isso, se a gente tem uma faixa da sociedade que hoje quer consumir essa informação, mas ainda está no ensino médio, por que nós não vamos pegar esses alunos e, ao invés de consumirem, eles criarem o conteúdo deles e apresentarem? O dia que eles tiverem uma ideia que vai impactar o mundo, eles já estão prontos. E é isso hoje. Eles estão prontos para, quando forem em uma fase adulta, poderem pisar num palco e impactar o mundo. É esse o meu desejo. E eu não vou desistir de plantar essa semente em cada escola que eles tiverem, em cada oportunidade que eu tiver. E tenho certeza que eles vão também agora levar essa bandeira. Eu queria parabenizar vocês, parabenizá-los, porque é uma coragem e tanto, não é para qualquer um. E só vou pedir uma desculpa, eu vou ter que sair um pouquinho antes, mas vai ficar aqui o meu desejo de que vocês não desistam jamais de acreditar que esse país é um país do futuro, que esse país tem gente que pode impactar uma sociedade e que os filhos de vocês já estão prontos para o mundo. Parabéns, viu? Uma boa noite para vocês.
Muito bom, pessoal. Vamos então começar? Yes? Estão preparados? Sim? Muito bom. Gente, muito obrigado, Canela. Obrigado mais uma vez. Quero te agradecer por ter apoiado esse nosso projeto, por ter acreditado nos alunos. Obrigado ao Benê também por ter aberto esse espaço para nós, a Monique por todo o apoio, pela conversa que ela tem junto conosco, né? Que é um projeto absolutamente especial. Então lá vamos nós trazer aqui nesse palco e a gente vai começar com a Ana Beatriz, né? E a Ana Beatriz, ela vai abrir aqui o projeto dela, né? Que ela vai debater sobre o desenvolvimento do Brasil e a sua posição no mundo, com a apresentação com o título Por que o Brasil não é um país de primeiro mundo. Vamos lá?
Thank you so much for having me in this presentation. So I'd like to firstly ask you a question. Have you ever thought on how foreigners see Brazil? I have a personal story to tell you and to illustrate a bit of the answer. I have an uncle of mine that he's Japanese, and he went back to his hometown to visit some of his family and friends. So then one of his friends asked him, well, why do you like Brazil so much? And he asked, well, I really like Brazil, like it's a really cool country. We have a very nice people, we have very nice weather, we have very nice costumes, so why not liking Brazil? And he answered, yeah, like I understand you liking Brazil. For example, you have pet monkeys, right? But, well, apparently Brazil has become only Rio de Janeiro, Copacabana, fruits, and apparently pet monkeys. But Brazil is a lot more than that. For example, ask a foreigner if they know about Brazilian industrialization. They don't know anything about it. But if you ask a foreigner about Australia, of course they will know about Australia, like it's a first world country. Why wouldn't they know? But both Brazil and Australia are on the South Hemisphere, were colonized. So why are they so different? What happened to Brazil to not be at the same place as Australia? Here I'll try to answer a little bit. First of all, Brazilian industrialization happened really late. It started only in 1930s with Getúlio Vargas. But while that, in England, there was already 200 years of development happening with industry. So Brazil has such a step back in our industrialization that wasn't able to develop our own products. Why? We always had agriculture in our main economy. So we always remember coffee, sugar, soy, but we never remember our industry. Why? The agro is always prioritizing. Like, it always gave money to us. So, does it make sense investing in industry if it isn't certain that it will get us a return? Another thing that really impacts Brazil is our politics. We never had a long-term politics to actually develop our industry. We had Getúlio Vargas in 1930s, but before that, we didn't even have the democratic way of politics. We started with a monarchy, proclaimed by a Portuguese guy. After that, we had the First Republic, that didn't start in a democratic way. After that, dictatorship. After that, a little bit of democracy, but a dictatorship. And now we're living the longest period of democracy of our history. And only with democracy that we can actually know how the people will react to the government's plans. Now, we don't have a long-term politics to actually develop our industry. We don't have a long-term political system to think about our development. So because of that, we are not having a good development that we could have had. But you may ask me, well, there weren't any people that actually wanted to try to change Brazil. There were, but they aren't that known. As I already told you, we had Getúlio Vargas. He was a president between 1930 and 1945, but he was a dictator. He started our industrial revolution. He first brought the industries to Brazil, and he really invested to become our country big. But his plan didn't continue, and his legacy quite failed. Before him, we had Barão de Mauá. He was a really, really great capitalist, and he really wanted Brazil to develop like England. Like, he visited England and got absolutely enchanted by what he saw. Like, England was so developed. Why can't Brazil become like England? But he was never listened. So then, we didn't have a proper development goal, and we are still waiting for it to come to our country. So, reviewing the mistakes that we did previously and the mistakes that we are currently seeing, what can we do to make Brazil a better country? Thank you.
Muito bom, hein? Muito bom, absolutamente. Esse foi um trabalho que exigiu dela bastante dedicação sobre a história do Brasil, entender por que a gente ainda não é um país industrializado, né? O que falta para a gente. E esse é um tema que tocou muito ela, um tema que interessa muito a Ana Beatriz. Então, parabéns para ela, parabéns aí pelos pais, obrigado por ter acreditado nesse projeto, por ter nos trazido aqui, ter ela trazido aqui todas as vezes, né, e tudo mais. Obrigado mesmo, viu? Nossa próxima vai ser a Sofia Mello, e a Sofia vai falar sobre um produto, um projeto, na verdade, super interessante para ela, que é o seguinte, eu não sei se vocês sabem, mas, por que pareça, né, o Brasil ele está aí bombando nas redes sociais, não é? E ela vai falar um pouquinho sobre isso, como que isso aconteceu, como é que a gente chegou aí nesse momento, ok? Por favor, Sofia.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
My name is Sofia, as you know, and today I'm going to talk about why does foreigners like Brazil so much. Well, I don't know about you, but every time that I open my Instagram, I only see people trying Brazilian food, speaking Portuguese, or even traveling to Brazil. It seems like Brazil has become a trend. If you see here, we can see a lot of examples of videos that here. She's a British girl and she's trying acai for the first time. Cute, isn't it? A Korean girl with Brazil core clothes, which are clothes with Brazil aesthetic. And here a girl from Russia that moved to Maranhão, and a lot of other examples. Some I think that foreigners are stealing Brazil's culture, but others think this wave of knowledge is good for the country's visibility and people to give the appropriate worth for the country. Well, I think this first question might be explained by some topics of our culture. First, food. Our food is tasty, naturally flavored, and not processed. Well, we all know it's not processed at all, but I don't think Brazilian moms would let their sons to eat like sandwiches on lunch, just like Americans do, peanut butter jelly, do you know? I don't think that. And besides, Brazil is one of the first countries that has the most healthy food in the world. Another aspect is people. People here are so warming and welcoming that makes you feel appreciated and loved. People here identify with Brazilians, and Brazilians are so respectful that makes people knowing their really worth. Brazil is one of the 10 more caring countries in the world and the more friendly one. We can say that some cultures have this personality with more colder, distant people, and makes you feel more depressive, and you feel just like home when you're here with Brazilians. Another aspect can be nature. Our nature is pleasant in some way, exciting, and combined to our landscapes, it becomes the perfect scenario for a good and happy story. Besides, we don't have much natural disasters here, just like hurricanes, tsunamis. We can see here that the last hurricane that we had here was in 2004, so you can be very unworried about that. Here, I'm going to show a video that illustrates how people identify with Brazilians and no, they're really worth here.
Was the first place I ever felt like I was beautiful. I remember the three ladies in Bahia, in a church, who stopped me to tell me that I was beautiful, and our host translated the message for me. And I remember being incredulous because I didn't believe them. It was in the beginning of high school, so it was the first time I ever really thought about, finding myself beautiful.
Beautiful, isn't it? So now I'm going to talk about how this affects Brazil and Brazilians. Well, it first affects the economy because we all know that all this wave of knowledge about Brazil has increased the interest in foreigners in Brazil. So people are traveling here, searching for Brazil on Instagram, and just looking for more information about our country, which is really, really good for the tourism sector and the increase of the economy. Okay, so our last point might be talk about how people identify here and feel safe, feel the worth, and in conclusion, in other countries, people may miss their home, but here they actually feel home. Thank you.
Muito bom, muito bom. Parabéns. Olha, o trabalho que ela fez de dedicação, de procurar todo esse material, correr atrás das informações, né, de um assunto que tanto interessa a ela, e cada assunto que eles vão trazer aqui para nós é algo que toca e que é importante pessoalmente para cada um deles. E o TED é sobre isso, é sobre a gente se espalhar não só uma ideia, algo, um conceito, mas também, às vezes, um estudo, às vezes, um material que a gente gostaria de trazer para o mundo e falar, olha, presta atenção nisso, isso é um assunto importante, esse é um assunto que me toca, não é? Esse é um assunto que é importante para nós e precisamos refletir um pouco sobre isso. O nosso próximo vai ser a Sofia Almeida, e a Sofia Almeida, ela vai falar sobre um tema também que exigiu bastante dedicação da parte dela, bastante estudo, e ela vai falar sobre por que, não é, o que a gente tem que aprender sobre microtendências. Você já ouviu falar sobre esse projeto? O que são microtendências, né? E a importância de tentar evitar não ser engolido por microtendências como essa aqui, ou seja, manter a nossa identidade, manter quem nós somos. Com vocês, Sofia Almeida.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia. I've been a student on Rodin for 2 years now, and today I will be talking about microtrends and what they do to us, how to avoid them. So first I'd like to ask, especially the adults in this room, how many of you know what Dubai chocolate Labubu matcha latte is? I bet not all of you know what it is, but ow. But it's basically this. It's a beverage that has a decoration on top shaped like the popular keychain called Labubus that can be bought from Pop Mart in blind boxes, which means you don't know which one you'll get until you buy it and open it, leading to people buying several of these just to get the ones they want. That's not really necessary, is it? Dubai chocolate is a popular trend on social media about a type of chocolate that came from Dubai like last year, and it's now available in the whole world, but it used to be so exclusive you could only find it in the luxurious stores of Dubai. Matcha is a traditional Japanese herbal tea that is very sensitive and expensive, so it quickly became something that people think of as valuable. This very year, my mom and I went to Japan to try and research a bit from the culture. We did try matcha. It wasn't really good in my opinion, but she liked it, so you can ask her. But I also saw that Pop Mart, a store that sells Labubus and other collectible toys, had a line that was 2 blocks long or even more just to get a collectible toy or a Labubu. Now, when I saw all of those people, adults with jobs and roles to play in society, I thought that was a waste of time to stand in the scorching Japanese sun to get a toy you can really and literally order off of the internet. So why do people do it? Because it's a trend. I'm sorry. Another thing I wanted to talk about is, Stanley Cups. Stanley Cups are a popular type of water bottle, that people use to carry, and they have a bottom that's shaped kind of perfectly to put in a cup holder in your car. But the thing is, after the heat of them passed, and after people stopped trying to look for them anymore, they started to show up in thrift stores. Used water bottles, or even brand new ones, were showing up in thrift stores. That is unsettling, disgusting, and honestly scary. Scary how quickly micro-trends become not needed anymore. Scary how suddenly it's not a trend and it ends up in a landfill or somewhere in the trash or in the thrift store. Most of these micro-trends are also made of clothes. Many clothes are considered micro-trends. And if you're asking where do these micro-trend clothes go, it's here. This is a picture of an actual warehouse where thousands and thousands of pounds of clothes are pressed together in gigantic blocks, and they take up so much space. Like, if you have any idea of what a warehouse is, think of thousands of these only in the United States, full of these blocks of clothes. These are just a few meters of them. Now imagine how many clothes we actually have right now. But there's another place those clothes go. This is what's called the fast fashion graveyard in the Atacama Desert. There is where thousands and thousands of pieces of clothing, and I speak of actual wearable ones, brand new ones, end up because the fashion industry doesn't care about throwing these away. Because since fast fashion is so cheap, they don't care about throwing it away because it doesn't cost them as much as recycling them or as reusing them. The fashion industry is responsible for 8 to 10% of greenhouse gas emission. That is really worrying. 8 to 10% is actually a significant amount. And that is damaging our environment. That is taking away from local communities. Those are kilometers and kilometers of clothes that could be used to build a national park, a recreational center, something that could actually give back to the nearby communities. But instead, we use it as a landfill, as a place to just throw away things we don't use anymore. And I think that's honestly sad. Sad because the stuff that we bought from Shein like 3 years ago are not trendy anymore, and people are throwing them away like it's nothing. But there is labor behind it. Even the machines that sew these are being operated by someone. And if it's so cheap, then someone is not getting paid right. But people don't care. People want to fit in. People want these trends. They chase these trends. Because right now, being interesting is being performative. Reading a book makes you smarty pants, and chasing knowledge somehow makes you selfish. Because right now, that's what it is. Being interesting is a sign of a flaw. Not following everyone like sheep means you're not worthy of belonging in that community. But people want to belong in a community. They don't want to be alone. We as humans, as our nature, we want to be in a community. We need each other. But when this needing each other starts stopping being interesting and reading a book, stopping finding friends in a park or your local cafe, when it starts being just from likes and views on social media, it starts to get worrying. Because we should be socializing naturally. in the environment we live in the places that we live in. Now, I wanted to talk to you about something. I want every single one of you to join hands imaginarily, figuratively, because we can't right now, and promise me something. The next time you'll buy something, think, will I wear this in the next month? Will I use this tomorrow? Will this clothing item be fashionable and usable within the next 5 years? If not, then you don't need it. Then you don't actually have to buy it, because you don't have to just buy a micro trend from the internet to belong. You can belong with people who buy from thrift stores, walk to them, long for a walkable neighborhood. Who here misses how easy it is to just walk through the bakery and get some fresh bread for your Sunday morning breakfast? We don't have that anymore. Now we have just long streets, and people don't want to walk anymore. They just get food delivered to their homes. What happened to getting out, getting some sun, touching some grass, meeting people on your way to work? People right now, they don't want that. They want these trends. But where they could belong could be a place that buys from your local farmer's market. I know many of you here might live in a close neighborhood. I do. And in it, there is a local market of the people of the neighborhood that they make something and they sell it. And near my house, there's actually a farmer's market from nearby people who make things, and we buy from there. Because my family understands that we need to support our local communities. That it's better to trust someone you can actually see than someone who hides behind a logo on the supermarket. But I do know that it is expensive. It is expensive to eat healthy. Nowadays, it is expensive to acquire things that are healthy, because the process is expensive. It is. And we have to understand that sometimes it is going to be costly to have a better way of life. And we as a society need to know that. But right now, I will give you some tips in some ways on how to consume less and in a more efficient way, so that the next time you buy something, you can actually know if it's worth it. The first thing would be avoiding black plastic. This remote, the plastic on this microphone, on those cameras, on anything that's actually made with black plastic is not a good idea for products that won't be used for a long time. Many of you already know that plastic takes a long time to decompose, but black plastic is actually an issue. When we put the plastic in recycling units, and I talk about this on the whole world, even in Brazil we have them. These recycling units use an infrared sensor system that sorts the plastic based on its color, and it is sorted that way to be recycled with other plastic that has the same color. But the infrared sensors can't find black plastic, and it ends up going to landfills. And those landfills are just a waste of space. Those landfills are a waste of our land. A land that can be used to build a hospital, a land that can be used to build a park, a dog park for you to walk with your Toto. It could be used to build a school, it could be used for something actually important, but instead it's used to throw away trash. Do you agree that that seems crazy? Going on to the next tip. The next time you buy a piece of clothing, you have to actually think about it. Because it's not only if it will be fashionable, it has to actually be conscious. When you buy a piece of clothing, instead of buying it because it is a trend, buy it because you actually have to buy it. Your only shirt got ripped, or you can't wear it anymore, or you definitely need a new tie for a job interview. Buy it then. and even then buy from thrift stores because people donate things that are almost brand new. And we shouldn't waste. Another thing about buying clothes that you should keep in mind is buying versatile, timeless pieces that can be used all of those years and can be changed to fit the next trend. Because even then, you'll be fashionable, but you'll still be helping save the planet. You'll stop clothing from going to landfills or, as I said before, the fast fashion graveyards. And also, one more thing. I bet that many of you have already heard about microplastics. They have been found in the water, in fish, in our blood, in breast milk, and inside bees. Microplastics are bad. We as humans don't have the biology in our bodies to decompose that plastic. And we can't have plastic in our bodies. So the next time you're gonna buy something, check the materials. If it's not cotton, I'd think about avoiding it. Because every time you wash polyester, the plastic in the fabric releases thousands of microplastic particles that end up in the water, that ends up in the fish, that ends up in our plates and ends up in our organisms. So to avoid that cycle, we should invest in natural pieces of clothing that won't release something that's bad for our health. Another tip towards building a cleaner strategy for buying. Think about buying organic produce. I know sometimes it's expensive at the store. I know when you go to the supermarket, sometimes the aisle with the organic produce, it's the most expensive one. But try and find local farmer markets because you're not only helping your community, you're not only investing in your nearby community, you're also helping yourself from buying things that have pesticides and bad chemicals for you. Because I can't just say, oh, supermarket food has chemicals, because everything is made from chemicals. Atoms are chemicals, and we're made from them. But understanding that some things are more healthy than others is something important for us to understand how we can take care of our bodies and our community. Related to that topic, I'll give you the fourth and final tip that I will be giving. Think about the price of things. This very vest that I'm using, I bought in the thrift store. But there was a lot of process before it. Someone had to plant the cotton, someone had to take care of the crops, someone had to harvest it, someone had to make it into fabric, someone had to cut that fabric, someone had to sew that fabric. Someone had to transport those clothing to the store, and someone had to sell them. So far, that's a lot of people, not counting other millions of people that help in transporting these things all across the country. But believing that a brand new jumpsuit could cost like 30 something, it's kind of worrying, because if the thing is so cheap, but it required so much work, then someone is not getting paid properly. And if someone is not getting paid properly, they won't have good quality of life. Can you imagine if you worked 12 hours a day and your boss paid you a little bit, like cents? You wouldn't be able to feed even yourself. You wouldn't be able to feed your children. You wouldn't be able to pay for your house. But there are some people that live that way. So instead of investing in companies that don't pay their employees properly, we should invest in sustainable things and like actually independent brands, because they're more likely to not use this kind of work, to be more responsible and to have a type of work that is actually valued. Now, I want you all to think about what I said. I already talked about it, but now it's your turn. It's your turn to talk about it with your friends, your family, your co-workers, even your dentist when it asks about your second cousin's neighbor's cow. Tell them about it. Because it's important for people to know about what I said. It's important for people to understand what is going on right now in the world. For people to know what's going right now inside their phones. You could check Instagram a little less. You don't have to stay in your phone all the time. Except if you're diabetic. If you have any health-related issues, please do check your blood sugar levels. But you don't have to look at your phone all the time. Read a book or an audiobook. Go to the gym, walk around, or even if you don't have time to do all that, spend a little time with your kids. Spend a little time with them because they will be grateful. They will be happy to know their parents chose building a safer future for them. They will be comforted in that. And I will be comforted knowing that nowadays we can help make an actual difference for your future. We can help make an actually good future for the better, for the next generations and for us. I know that everyone here wants to live a good life, a long and healthy life. And for that, we have to live in a clean, in a good community. In a community where we help each other. In a community where we help ourselves. In a community where we help the environment, not as a fragile thing that must be protected, but as the place we live in. If someone was burning your house, would you do nothing? No, you would actually do something. But we live in planet Earth. This is our house, and it's burning. Coral reefs are dying, forests are being burned, and we have to do something. We have to live a more healthy life, starting by not adhering to these micro trends that are just gonna end up filling space and ruining our environment. So, who's with me? Thank you.
Muito bom, obrigado, Sofia. Esse tema que ela está comentando aqui, que é tão interessante, sobre quem sabia sobre plástico preto, né? Realmente o quanto que isso aqui estraga o nosso dia a dia, não é? O quanto que isso aqui é importante para a gente cuidar do nosso ambiente. Ela reforçou um pouquinho sobre a importância de nós comprarmos dentro da nossa comunidade, ao invés de comprarmos de outras marcas, outras grandes marcas, darmos valor efetivamente a ir numa cafeteria, a conversar com as pessoas, né? Ao invés de a gente perder a nossa identidade com situações que não faz nenhum sentido mais com a gente. Então, parabéns por esse tema, parabéns por ter trazido esse alerta para todos nós. E agora a gente vai falar sobre um outro tema super interessante, que vai ser da Ana Clara. E a Ana Clara vai trazer uma importância sobre o que se chama de ansiedade, não é? De ansiedade social. O que significa ansiedade social? Muitas vezes a gente tem uma situação onde a gente encontra uma pessoa e ela é um pouquinho mais quietinha, ou às vezes é um pouquinho mais desassociada, e cabe a nós irmos até ela, cabe a nós esticarmos o braço, cabe a nós conhecermos um pouquinho mais sobre essa pessoa, e não apenas deixá-la ali naquele canto, achar que é uma pessoa que não quer conversar com os outros, não, de repente ela tem um desafio, não é? E ela vai justamente trazer essa consciência para nós, para que a gente conheça um pouco mais sobre esse desafio que algumas pessoas possuem. Com vocês, Ana Clara.
So, good evening to everyone, and I'm going to talk about social anxiety disorder. First of all, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you know what is the social anxiety disorder? Well, many people may think this is shyness, but it is not. And I'm going to tell you guys the difference between shy and having social anxiety. Most people may think that who has social anxiety disorder is just a shy person, but social anxiety isn't just shyness, it is really bigger than that. Both involve being nervous in social situations and have some similarities. But shyness is considered a personal trait, like feeling reserved or feeling uncomfortable in some social situations, like doing a speech, like I'm doing, or meeting new people. And the feeling of shyness in those moments is a natural response. When social anxiety disorder is more severe and it is a mental health condition, we consider it a type of anxiety disorder, which needs treatment by psychiatric or by psychology. And it causes people to experience fear and avoidance of social situations. As I said before, social anxiety and shyness have really a lot of similar symptoms, but the most common is like blushing in social situations, racing heartbeat, sweating, worrying about how others see them, negative self-evaluation, struggle making eye contact. Social anxiety disorder is also called by the acronym SAD, and it is often dismissed as extreme shyness. And that's the reason why people don't seek for help for SAD, because they don't realize that they have this kind of disorder, and they keep like suffering alone without searching the help of someone who is a specialist. And it is really important to know how to identify shyness to social anxiety disorder. So I'm going to tell you guys how we do to know when it is a social anxiety disorder or shyness. The main symptoms that distinguish shyness and SAD are intensity of the fear, the level of avoidance, and the impairment of functioning that it causes in a person's life. A person with SAD experiences fear and anxiety to the point to disrupt their life quality, including the daily tasks and relationships. Like when someone who has SAD are going to do a speech or a presentation, they don't get nervous just when they are doing that. They start to thinking of that like months beforehand, and just for thinking of that they feel like shaking hands and like sweating and and like racing heartbeat, as I said before, who are really similar symptoms to the normal anxiety that we said, but those cases is more like specific to social situations. When the person who has SAD is not in social situations, this person can live normally and like comfortably, but it is really hard to live without socializing with other people, so that makes their life really hard, and it causes like a distress on people who have this. And the symptoms can get worse as the situation progresses, causing suffering and distress, as I said. And persons with SAD usually realize that their fears are unfounded, but are still unable to control them. This is kind of a stranger, right? You know, it is nothing, but you're still scared about this. So I'm going to talk about how to deal with sad, because it may seem easy, but it is really hard. I'm kind of the proof of that. If you identify that you have the symptoms of SAD, it is really important that you seek a professional for an official diagnosis. And the professional will give you the proper treatment. And it's really important also the help of others around you. Because sometimes it is not like you don't want to talk to anyone or like you don't like people, it's just you can't talk to them. You are too shy for that, and this is really, really hard for you. So when other people came and approached someone who has SAD, like it can really change their lives. Because for people who has SAD, can like ask someone you trust for helping you getting through of this, and it's really, really important to look for a mental health specialist and don't diagnose yourself, because well, a specialist is for that. And maybe you are asking yourself, what can I do to help people in this situation? Like, if you don't, it's okay, you can do it now. People who have this issue are really, really easy misunderstood as an arrogant or rude person, as I said before. People see them like people who are isolated of the sociality. And it is not like they want to do that, it's just they can't overcome that by themselves. And it is really important to other people who is around someone who has SAD to understand that it is not a personal problem with others, it's like a social problem. It is not like this person don't want to, this person just can't, this is really hard for this person. And I can give an example by myself. Like, I had so much help of my friends since of the start of the year, the beginning of the year, sorry. And they really helped me to overcome little by little my fear of socializing. I'm still in the process, but it is getting better. And this thing shows that it is really important to other people. Don't ignore this person who's like isolated and don't want to talk with anyone, because sometimes this person wants to talk, wants to make friends, but this person just can't do it by themselves. And it is that. Thank you.
Gente, o que a gente pode falar sobre esse trabalho que ela fez, sobre a superação que ela teve para vir até aqui, não é? Então, obrigado por deixá-la vir nesse projeto nosso. Obrigado, Canela, por ter dado essa oportunidade, Benê, porque a ousadia que ela teve, né, o que ela precisou fazer, acho que só você sabe também o que ela precisou, né, fazer para superar todo esse trabalho. Ela não faltava às aulas, ela vinha aqui falava sobre oratória, falava sobre o tema, e ela desenvolveu tudo isso, então, absolutamente formidável. Parabéns, parabéns mesmo. Ainda mais, ela tem 1 mês ainda, né? Meu Deus do céu, meu Deus do céu. Muito bom. O próximo que a gente vai falar agora vai ser sobre um tema que é a especialidade aqui da casa, né, Monique? A especialidade aqui da casa, que é sobre educação. Então, o Pedro vai falar sobre educação, a importância de alguns aspectos que tocam muito a ele, que são especialmente importantes, e ele gostaria de trazer um certo alerta sobre o ambiente, como é que a gente trabalha o nosso ambiente, como é que a gente trabalha as pessoas do nosso lado, e como é que a gente pode fazer um grande step up nesse sentido, né, Pedro? Welcome!
Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm really glad to be here, presenting to you all. It's a great opportunity. And, well, I want to present to you about education. It's a really important topic for us humans that live in a society. And I want to talk to you about how we can make education better. How can we improve education? How can we achieve a true education? Well, let's start by understanding what I mean with true education. Well, I believe that when we learn things, we shouldn't just be memorizing formulas or maybe an idea, a concept. We should be trying to understand them. We should try to apply them on our day-to-day lives. We should be trying to making this like something visible, something that can be put into the world. And well, if, for example, you ask a professional in some area of any kind of subject about some topic, some importance, some number, anything about that, they will probably not have it memorized, but they can explain the concept, they can show you the process to get to it. And I believe that's the most important thing about learning. And well, how can we achieve that? Well, I believe that we can achieve true education by doing the correct process of learning. And well, there are three things we need to understand. Well, there are three things that can be wrong in the process that maybe lead up to a bad learning experience or something like that. Well, this can be the student, the teacher, or the environment they're in. Well, when I mean the student and the teacher, I'm not saying that they are the problem, but their attitude in the school, or maybe if you're learning by yourself or outside, or maybe in the adulthood, it's the person that is teaching you, their attitude is very important. Because, for example, if maybe this person really likes the subject, really likes the thing they're going to teach about, but they can't communicate that to the student. They can't show that to the student. And well, it ends up looking something very hard, something that the student just can't understand, it's above their level, but it really isn't. So it's really important to give feedback, to try to show to the teacher that maybe their communication isn't the best, and try to make this process as communicative and as friendly as possible. Well, maybe the issue isn't with the professor's attitude, but rather with the student's attitude. In that case, the student might not want to learn, and that's really bad. If somebody just says, oh, I don't want to learn that, I'll never use it. Why would I learn it? Well, that's an issue, because everything we learn, we use it, even unconsciously. We have to learn because that makes our morals, that can give us new ideas, that can be applied everywhere. So it's really important for the students to want to learn. They have to give it a shot, they have to try to understand, they have to do exercises. And if you try to learn, try to show the maximum respect for the teacher, try to learn, do things by yourself and with the help of others. Well, maybe the issue isn't with any of them, but rather in the environment they're in. In that case, it might be a distraction, some noise pollution, visual pollution, and maybe a person that is causing distraction, that is causing attention. Well, in that case, it's better to try to get rid of the source of the distraction, or maybe just try to talk to the person that is a distraction, and try to show that the environment there is to learn. Well, as I said all this, you might be thinking, why am I saying to you to want to learn? Why am I saying to you to achieve true learning? And well, I believe and I think it's really important that we all try to learn to our maximum, try to understand things, because that's make us who we are. With that, we can make our objectives. With that, we can make things, we can do things for our world. We can understand the problems of our world and how we can solve it. With that, we can take actions that actually change the world we're in to make it a better place. And I believe that's really important nowadays. It's really important to learn and take these actions and change the world. Thank you.
Muito bom! Parabéns, cara. Parabéns. Olha aí, então, o que a gente aprendeu aqui, né? Aprendemos sobre a importância da educação. Eu não sei, viu, Carela, mas acho que a gente tem um novo professor aqui, apontando aqui. Muito bom. Olha só o que nós já falamos sobre... Nessa Super TED de hoje, já falamos sobre educação, falamos sobre a importância da conscientização do nosso ambiente, cuidar das pessoas à nossa volta, falamos sobre a empatia de repente, perceber algumas pessoas que têm alguma dificuldade social, irmos até ela, entender o que está acontecendo, não é? Falamos também sobre a razão pela qual o Brasil hoje está sendo tão procurado por estrangeiros, né? Por que eles gostam tanto do Brasil? Então, cada aspecto como esse, inauguramos falando sobre a razão pela qual o Brasil hoje ainda não é um país industrializado, o que está acontecendo, o que falta para nós. Ou seja, cada tema é um tema que toca cada um dos alunos. E esse próximo tema que a gente vai falar agora, do nosso grande Gustavo, né? A gente vai falar sobre relacionamento, não é? Dificuldade de relacionamento pessoal, relacionamento profissional, quais são as diferenças entre a maneira como os homens falam, como as mulheres pensam, como é que elas se relacionam, a diferença de relacionamento entre eles e como é que a gente pode aproximar esses dois ambientes. Esse tema que o Gustavo vai falar agora foi algo que ele estudou bastante, pesquisou bastante em livros e lá vem ele. Bora!
Good evening to everybody. Today we're going to talk about a topic that to me is very important. It's about relationships. And when you think about relationships, what comes in your mind? A couple for a movie you watched before? A romance for a movie you watched before? I don't blame you for thinking that, because relationships takes the idea because of love. But it has many more meanings than you can imagine. Relationships is any interaction you have with someone. You can have relationships with a teacher, with a brother, with your parents, with your neighbor, with someone you like, someone you don't like. Relationships is any interaction you have with someone. But in relationships, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
That's all right.
Okay, let's start again. And relationships just occur because of connections. And do you know what is these connections? Connections are the deep bonds of support, trust, and mental understanding that makes us feel parts of something. Well, when I finished my elementary school, my mom told me that I would change to another school that I had never heard of before. And I was very, very scared because I entered to that class and I didn't know nobody and I didn't know where I am, where I was. So I was very, very scared. And after some minutes, a boy comes to me and started to talk with me. That small conversation, just small, makes me feel comfortable where the place I was. And when I feel myself comfortable, I wasn't scared to be there anymore. I would like to be there. I wasn't scared. And after this, we start to have another conversation. And after some days, we became friends until now. That we are friends until now. Yeah. This small conversation makes me feel very, very comfortable. And we create connection. Me and this friend, we create connection. This is an example of relationships, of a friendship. We have connection. Me and this friend, and we became friends because we had connection. But Desculpa, Maurício.
Fica tranquilo. Gente, essa é uma pessoa corajosa. Essa é uma pessoa que está lutando, é uma pessoa que está buscando passar uma mensagem bonita, não é? E as pessoas que estão aqui são pessoas que querem ouvir você. Não é? Você conhece bem ele ali, ó. Conhece a Monique? Olha lá, Monique. Né, Monique? Canela que te deu apoio, o Brigadeiro, o Tom. Olha lá eles. É para eles que você está falando essa mensagem. Com calma, tranquilidade, passo a passo. É ou não é? Yeah. Já termina já.
Okay. Let's start again. Me and his friend create connection. And we humans create these connections because we are sociable. Sociability is a very, very interesting kind of ability we have, because when I create connection with you, we can become friends, we can become couple, we can whatever. This sociability is not just I'm sociable, but is a fundamental way to survive. Being sociable, humans have the incredible ability of communication, that is communication. Communication is a very, very interesting way of that we humans create connection. And there is a very, very interesting book that talks about communication, but not just me for you, but communication in different ways, women and men. We men are very, very different than women. We men are more direct because I can say we are born. Sometimes we are a little bit born because we don't like to talk too much. We are more direct, don't like to talk because we men, we need to prove that we are competent to do the thing why we need. If you ask a man, you need to do that, he will try everything. Anyway, to do the thing you asked him to do. And to think what he needs to do to complete this question, to complete this ask, he will introduce in the mental cave and think alone. He needs to think alone. He don't like to talk. Because of that, when he is stressful, he don't like to talk to anyone. He is very, very stressed. But on the other hand, the women, they like to talk. They love to talk. When they're stressful, when they're confronting a problem, they need to talk to someone because it is a very, very incredible way to them to express the feeling they are feeling. If I'm sad, I need to talk to my friend. And this is the way for women that they use to talk. The conversation for a woman is totally different from a conversation for a man. Women have, as you can see, for a need, because they are more sociable than a man. So we are humans, but women are more sociable than men. Women like to talk more, and men like to talk less because we're direct and boring. But women are more happiness. They like to talk. They like to treat their problem as a way to talk, to have a conversation with friends. They are more happiness, like, in my opinion. But the difference in the two genders is not only found in the communication. It's also found. Oh, sorry. Of course, what I'm saying now is the vast majority. And you can be or know an exception, like me, that is a boy that loves to talk. But I can say with 95% of that in the most of the case, men are boring and don't like to talk because we are direct, and women like a lot to talk. And because of that is of because women are more expressive. They are more subjective than men. And as I talked before, men don't like to talk. And this is explained because of the hormonal differences. The mainly differences, women have the estrogen and men have testosterone in their bodies. Women have estrogen as their predominant hormone. That is the hormone of the happiness. That's the hormone of the talk, of the conversation. The communication hormone. The estrogen released in the female body, it promotes a type of communication that prioritizes emotion subjective and the process of building relationships. They create more relationships to another girls because they talk, because they have the estrogen in their bodies. On the other hand, men's, they have the mainly hormone, the testosterone, that is more brutal. In the case of men, the main factor behind their boring behavior is testosterone. Testosterone drives them to be more closed off because of their focus in solving and acting, not talking. When we're stressful, we don't like to talk, we like to stay alone, we don't like to resolve this problem. We like to stay alone and think. Because of that, I said that men are more boring. A little bit. And knowing about that, I would like you to think the difference of the two genders. I would like that you think what is in a company when you work in a company, how men's works and how women works. There are some small, but there's difference in the two genders. Men's, because of their boring, they like to resolve the problem. They don't like to talk, they don't like to help, they like to make the problem. They just like to resolve the problem. But women like to talk. If they need some help, they will talk to another girl, they will talk to another people. And in my opinion, I think it is very incredible because they're very, very different than two genders. But all of them can solve the problem. And it's very, very incredible because relationships for a woman in the company is very, very different than a man relationship inside a company. You can see And at school, a teacher man, he has 2, 3 friends that his materials look like them. But teacher women, they have a lot of friends. Some of the friends are the students. And when they have a problem, when they something they need to do inside a class, an example, women will treat something, they will ask help for them friends. But men, they will just think, no, I need to do that, I need to resolve this problem, and so I will try something. He will not ask something, he will not ask help for another friend. He will make this. And knowing about that, I would like to show to you the importance of relationships. And I would like to make a question to you. What is relationships to you, and what is relationship important in your life? Thank you.
Eu achei que fosse ela. Então, parabéns aí pela luta, parabéns pelo filhão aí que veio sempre, super bem educado, super querido, super amável. Legal? É isso aí. Então, quem quiser conhecer um pouquinho mais sobre relacionamento, agora a gente tem um super especialista que é o Gustavo, ele vai explicar como fazer isso daí com as pessoas, é ou não é? E o nosso próximo tema agora, que a gente vai falar só com a Maju, é ou não é, Maju? Foi um tema que é muito interessante porque a gente acaba não prestando muitas atenções e também está conectado com esse assunto do Gustavo, que é o seguinte, que é o relacionamento familiar. Então, muitas vezes, ao longo da nossa jornada, a gente vai esquecendo da importância de manter uma cultura dentro da nossa família, é ou não é? E cada um tem o seu jeito, cada um tem a sua maneira, mas nós precisamos valorizar isso daqui, valorizar nossos irmãos, valorizar nossos primos, valorizar nossos vovós e vovós, é ou não é? Quem são todas as pessoas? E é sobre isso que a gente vai falar agora. Vamos lá, Maju.
Good night, everyone. Nossa, é muito alto. I'm really grateful to be here tonight, and today I'm going to talk a little about the importance of cultivating good relationships with our families in our lives. First of all, I will talk a little, one curiosity about me. When I was a child, I used to watch Disney movies, and I still watch it nowadays. But while I watched these movies, I always look for a phrase or moment that could teach me a real lesson. And one of these phrases and moments became particularly meaningful to my family because it's from one of my little sister's favorite movies. It's from Lilo and Stitch. And it says, Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. Over the years, the structure of families were changing. Some families have one mother and one father. Some families have two mothers or two fathers, or one mother and only one father. But have one thing that all of these families need to have in common. This thing is called love. Now I have a question for you. Why is it so important to show this love for our relatives? What's the real importance of that in our lives? For me, showing my love and appreciation for my family members makes me create a sense of belonging and connection. With this connection, I feel more comfortable to talk with them about everything that I need, because I know that I can count on them with anything I need, and because they have passed through the same things that I'm passing nowadays. So, for example, today I'm preparing to have a job one day. My mother and my father have already passed this phase, so if I need some help, I can talk with them. Remember, while I was searching from this theme, I found a study from PubMed that have the title Family Support and Mental Health in Adolescent Mothers, a multi-center study in Brazil. And they found out that a lot of mothers that were, a lot of adolescents that became mothers early have, the family relationships have impacted a lot in the depression level that they could have. So here's a graphic to show them. In dark blue, we have the total persons that have depression symptoms, and in light blue, without symptoms. In the second, we have with family support. So the mothers that have depression symptoms have 40%. So these people is who have family support and depression, so isn't a lot. And we have 60% of in light blue that haven't symptoms of depression because they have family support. In the last one, it's really different. In dark blue, we have people with that doesn't have family support with depression symptoms. So it shows that family support impacts a lot in the level of depressions. And yeah, I forgot. Remember, when we grow up in an environment full of love and care with our families, we don't just learn how to receive love, we learn how to give it to. And that changes everything about what type of adults we will be in our lives. When we learn how to listen and be listened to, we can communicate better with the others. When we learn how to support others and be supported too, is a soft skill that we can have. And well, for me, this theme is really important because it shows the power that family supports can have in our lives. And I'm sure that if you have family relationships, a strong family relationship, you will see how long it will how long you will see this impact in your lives. Like for the rest of your life, you will miss your parents if you don't have these straight lessons. And this was my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Muito bom, pessoal, muito bom. Essa é a importância de família, né? A importância de nós cultivarmos quem está com a gente hoje, darmos atenção para as pessoas, sabe? O que está acontecendo do nosso lado, prestarmos atenção. Então, parabéns por trazer esse tema. Eu não esperava que algum dos temas fosse falar efetivamente para a família, então parabéns por projetar esse ponto tão central da nossa sociedade, né? E esse próximo tema que a gente vai falar agora é um outro tema também muito caro para o nosso grande Gabriel, que está aqui se aproximando, né? Está se preparando ali, o nosso grande artista, e ele vai falar sobre racismo, não é? E muitas vezes a gente não presta atenção, mas a gente pode estar, talvez, caindo em algumas armadilhas como essa, não é? E de onde veio? Como é que começou toda a história? Como é que começou toda essa nossa jornada sobre racismo, não é? Por que alguns países têm, por que outros países não têm? O que aconteceu no Brasil ao longo dessa jornada? Como é que a gente faz para lidar com isso, não é? Quem sofre e por aí vai. Com vocês, Gabriel.
Hello everybody, my name is Gabriel and I'm really happy to be here. Well, I will start saying something that has really concerned me about on the last few days. Every day I walk into school and I hear people talking. Talking is a normal activity on human behavior, and it's because we are social life beings. We have to share everything with each other. So we talk, we communicate, we have to give this information to our friends or family. I also hear people screaming because we are reckless teenagers. We don't behave very well. And among all of the screams, I hear some harmful ones, some that can hurt people. And I can hear a lot of the times the word black being used as a curse word. This was not meant to be this way. The word black is a characteristic, not a bad thing. So this is pure racism. And where did this all came from? Well, let's start from the beginning. 200,000 before Christ, where humanity wasn't that developed and human minds were only in a simple thing. But we already had something. We had fear. We had fear of being hunted down by predators. We had fear of being left alone to be hunted down by predators. So we built groups to be with similar ones to make surviving easier. So there were groups of only tall people and only short people. You see, these type of differences always separated people, and because being different is kind of an anomaly. You have fear of what you can't control. So there are also some characteristics on humans that can enhance the surviving chances. For example, being short. If you are short, you are faster, and then you can hunt or run away in a faster way. Now, let's move on to a little bit further, in the 17th century. In the 17th century, European countries ruled over the world and had a lot of colonies spread. Most of the colonies were in Africa, so there's where the slaves came from. Slavery is a really bad thing, and this influenced a lot in how we have the racism today and how it was created. Well, African people are usually and mostly born black. This made and the high majority of slaves were taken from Africa, and that influenced it. So everyone got used to black people. They served the white people, and the white people had good lives and good houses. People got used to it. Sadly, unfortunately, it was not meant to be this way. And so this feeling and this thinking got passed from generation to generation, and this made people get used to something that is not cool. Nowadays, we don't need to separate ourselves in groups to make surviving easier. We already have such an easy life. It's easier than I don't know, living in the forest, and we don't have that much slavery. We need to get used to. This system was abolished in all over the world, but yes, it also happens nowadays. It still happens nowadays. But we don't see this anymore, so there's no reason for why this is so common among us. So we have to think and take actions of, like, we have to create campaigns of conscientization about this problem, and this issue has to be solved fast. Thank you.
Fica à vontade. Muito bom, parabéns, Gabriel, porque essa daqui foi um grande desafio para ele, não parece, mas a luta que ele teve para vir e ter a coragem de fazer, de vir, de pensar, será que eu faço, será que eu não faço? Ele conversou com o pai, não vamos fazer, é ou não é? E cada um que veio aqui tem uma história, né? Tem uma história de, será que eu avanço, será que eu termino, será que eu paro por aqui, será que eu falo de verdade? Então, parabéns, porque eu tenho certeza que cada um vai levar essa jornada pro resto da vida. E agora, nós vamos já para o nosso finalzinho, vamos para o nosso último tema, não é? Com o grande Matheus. E o Matheus vai falar sobre um assunto que é super importante para ele, que é algo que a gente precisa pensar bastante, né? E muitas vezes a gente tende a não fazer isso, que é dar uma segunda chance. Então, muitas vezes a gente cria uma opinião sobre uma pessoa e a gente fica muitas vezes mergulhado naquele filtro e a gente acaba não dando uma segunda oportunidade para a pessoa e não cria uma opinião logo de cara. Porque eu pergunto uma coisa para vocês, quanto tempo a gente leva para criar uma opinião sobre alguém? 30 segundos? 40 segundos? Né? E o que a gente tem é só uma foto sobre a pessoa. E isso é uma coisa que o Matheus comentou. Ele falou assim, puxa vida, isso aqui me incomoda. Me incomoda o fato de repente, eu conversar com uma pessoa e ele já criar uma opinião e levar isso aqui por anos a fio. É sobre o assunto que ele gostaria de falar e alertar a gente. Não vamos ficar só na primeira opinião. Vamos conhecer as pessoas. Vamos mergulhar um pouco sobre ela. Vamos criar uma amizade sobre ela. E vamos dar a ela uma segunda chance de mostrar uma outra imagem. Vamos lá, Matheus.
Hello. First of all, my name is Matheus. I already got represented. So, Isn't it crazy how in some days, by different factors, you can act different from others? Let's do 2 scenarios here, okay? First, you just wake up normally, take a good breakfast, and go to school. There, you see someone asking for help. As a person on a normal day, I think you probably would help this person. When you do it, the person will probably like you more, will think you're a good person. But, alright. So, second, you don't wake up really well. Something happened that make you a little bit mad of something. Even though a person who will ask for help did anything for you to get mad, you can act a little bit more aggressive, you know what I mean? You don't want to help this person. You are in a bad day and you don't want to do it. So this person will want like you. The person will just think you are a not good guy, if you understand me. So when these 2 people met each other and for some reason they will talk about you, one of them will say, oh, he's a really good person. He helped me once. And I think that this shows his good personality. And the second person that you didn't help will probably be a little bit mad of you. I asked for help, he didn't help me, he was a little aggressive with me. So, yeah, I didn't like him so much. But the question is, how does these 2 peoples have totally different opinion of the same person? Well, so it's just the way you act, the way you behave in front of them. So the first 2 minutes you did a connection with them, created a whole personality of you in their mind. So I will ask you guys a question of, when you meet someone, how long does it take to make an opinion about this person you just met? 2 minutes, just a conversation, or a short presentation, or just the way the person acts? And how wrong would you be about this person? Because when you perform a opinion, you did that based off their first interaction. You don't know their whole life, the entire life. Like, I will use myself as an example. I'm 14 years old. Probably most of you guys just know me. You just know me now. You just know that I exist now. And the way I'm acting over here will be way different when I act. Is way different when I act with someone that I actually know more, that talks way more frequently with me. Okay. And there's a lot of people I think you guys don't like. I don't know, your boss, you're a not helpful person, someone a bartender that didn't help you, missed something when you asked for a drink. And well, these examples I did to you, specifically your boss, you don't know your boss well, but if you give him a second chance, you can maybe understand why he's that way. Maybe the reason that he treated you bad only a day is because I don't know something bad happened to him and he was really affected with it. The main reason I'm talking about this to you guys is for you guys to think. Give a second chance for people you met and didn't like, or just try to know better the people that you already know. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Gente, é isso. Acho que o desafio, assim, a gente ficou nos bastidores e a gente fica observando, entendendo o que cada um está falando e meio que fazendo comentários em paralelos. Um deles é, estou orgulhoso, né? É uma semente que se planta. Há pouco a Monique me perguntou o que eu estou achando, então são 3 coisas que eu falei para ela. Desafiador, então estou orgulhoso de cada um de vocês. Ser o primeiro é desbravar caminhos, então todos eles estão desbravando caminhos. Quem vier em 2026, e que provavelmente eles estarão aqui, é diferente. Alguém já fez, eu já sei como é que é, já consigo falar com as pessoas, né? E parabéns a vocês, porque eu entendo que o que eles estão trazendo aqui hoje é fruto do convívio com vocês, desde o momento que eles foram pensados no dia a dia, no convívio, no fortalecimento, na ideia de fazer valer a pena esse momento que a gente vive nesse planeta aqui, né? Então, parabéns a eles, estou orgulhoso, parabéns a vocês, que é algo gostoso de ver, pais envolvidos, fazendo os filhos serem diferentes, com propósito, e isso faz a diferença, né? Então, obrigado por vocês terem vindo, obrigado por acreditar no que todo mundo aqui tem produzido, e parabéns pelos filhos. E a gente vai agora fazer um encerramento, e nesse encerramento eu quero fazer 2 convites. Primeiro, todos vocês, para a gente fazer uma foto, daqui a pouco todo mundo aqui, depois uma foto, todos vocês, com os pais de vocês aqui, para a gente guardar, que é um momento bom, gostoso, e a gente guarda na memória coisas gostosas. Certo?